The storm crashed down on the city like a warning from heaven the night everything changed for Daniel Ross, a single father who had already faced more storms than any man deserved. He was a delivery driver who worked double shifts, a man who had spent the last 5 years fighting to give his little daughter a life better than the one life had handed him. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared him for the moment he knelt on the wet pavement beside an unconscious stranger, her breath fading, her pulse slipping away, and the world watching through the flash of paparazzi cameras. They would later call it the kiss that saved the heiress, but for Daniel, it was simply the human instinct to save a life, even if that life belonged to someone far above his world. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly keeps stories like this alive. Daniel had only stopped his car because he spotted another vehicle spin out on the rain-slick road ahead. The sight shook him, its door flung open, a woman collapsing out of it as photographers swarmed like vultures desperate for a story. Daniel had seen enough suffering in his life to know when someone was in trouble, so he ran to her without thinking. She was drenched, trembling, struggling for breath. He had no idea she was the daughter of one of the most powerful billionaires in the country. To him, she was just a human being who needed help. When she went still, when her eyes fluttered shut and her chest barely moved, Daniel felt a jolt of terror. He leaned down, gave her rescue breaths, pressing his lips to hers, not as passion, but as desperation, until he felt her gasp awake beneath the downpour. What he didn't expect was the explosion of camera flashes. Paparazzi had caught everything. Within seconds, the moment transformed from an act of mercy into the scandal of the night, a drenched single dad kissing the billionaire heiress in the rain. Her name, he learned hours later, was Alina Sterling, the only daughter of Marcus Sterling, the man whose businesses practically carried half the nation's economy. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He sat by his daughter Lily's bed, listening to her gentle breathing, telling himself that whatever the internet said tomorrow didn't matter. He had done the right thing. But deep down he feared the consequences. A man like Marcus Sterling didn't let strangers near his daughter without answers. The next morning, the world was roaring. Daniel's phone blew up with messages he never wanted. Strangers accusing him of chasing clout, others calling him a hero, tabloids inventing stories about a secret affair between two people who had met only in disaster. Daniel wanted nothing to do with any of it. All he cared about was getting Lily ready for school and pretending life was normal. But life had other plans. At 9:14 a.m. sharp, his phone buzzed again, this time a private number, one that sent a cold shiver down his spine. When he answered, the voice on the other end wasn't angry, but firm, controlled, and powerful enough to sound like it could move mountains. It was Marcus Sterling himself, requesting, no, insisting, that Daniel meet him immediately. Daniel arrived at the Sterling estate minutes later, escorted through golden gates he'd only ever seen in magazines. The house wasn't a home, it was a palace built on the bones of success. He felt out of place, a working-class man with worn shoes stepping on marble floors that probably cost more than his yearly salary. But inside, he found Marcus Sterling not as a tyrant, but as a father terrified of losing his daughter. Marcus thanked him, deeply, sincerely, but he also wanted to know everything. Daniel recounted the night, every second of it. He expected suspicion, maybe even threats. But Marcus simply listened, his eyes softening as he tried to understand how fate had allowed a stranger to save his daughter when his own wealth couldn't. Then Alina walked in. Her presence filled the room like sunlight after a storm. She wasn't the cold socialite people posted online. She was warm, vulnerable, and curious about the man who had given her breath when she had lost her own. She apologized for the chaos, for the cameras, for the unfair headlines. Daniel expected to feel awkward, but instead he felt something else, an inexplicable pull. Alina looked at him as though he had touched her in a way beyond the physical, as though the moment in the rain had created a connection neither of them could deny. Over the next few days, Daniel's life twisted into something surreal. Marcus asked him to stay in touch, just in case Alina needed updates about the incident. Alina invited Daniel and Lily to events, simple outings, quiet lunches. Slowly, the walls that separated their worlds began to crumble. Alina found comfort in Daniel's honesty, his grounded nature, and his devotion to his daughter. Daniel found himself drawn to her kindness, to the way she treated Lily like something precious rather than fragile. But he also fought the rising feelings inside him. He didn't belong in her world of wealth and power. He didn't deserve someone like her. Yet fate didn't care about social lines. It only cared about hearts. One evening, while Daniel and Alina stood outside watching Lily chase fireflies, Alina confessed that the night of the accident had been one of the darkest of her life. She had been overwhelmed by pressure, by headlines, by expectations. She hadn't meant to drive into the storm. She just wanted to escape, just for a moment. Daniel listened, understanding more than she expected. Pain recognized pain. Loneliness recognized loneliness. And hope recognized hope. Everything changed when Marcus Sterling called Daniel again, not to question him, not to thank him, but to tell him something that shook him to his core. Marcus said that Alina had spoken of Daniel in a way she'd never spoken of anyone. He told Daniel that sometimes life places people in our paths not by accident, but by purpose. And he asked Daniel one simple question: don't you think you deserve a chance at happiness too? Daniel didn't sleep that night. He watched his daughter dream, thinking of the woman whose life he had saved, who had unknowingly begun to save his. The next morning, he made a choice, not based on fear, but on faith. He asked Alina if she wanted to see where he truly lived, what his life really looked like. She came without hesitation. She sat at his small kitchen table, ate Lily's burnt pancakes with a smile, and told him she felt more peace there than in any mansion. By the time the sun set, Daniel realized something undeniable: the kiss that saved Alina's life had also revived his own. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in love and second chances, and subscribe for more emotional stories. Before we end, tell me in the comments, do you believe two people from completely different worlds can truly be meant for each other?